Welcome to ES3N.
Often found himself practicing with a crew of backups while the team's other passers, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, have received first-team reps. Sanders, though, said he's unbothered by his practice reps and instead looking to take advantage of every opportunity he gets. Shedeur?
It's just a mindset, it's just an adjustment. You got to go and understand the situation that you're in and be able to approach that and get the best out of it. You could view things as you're not getting reps in a negative way, or you could view it as, okay, when it's my time to get out there. So there's no excuses, because when you get out there, nobody cares how many reps you got. Whenever you get in the game, nobody cares. Everybody cares about production. So that's the main thing. When you get out there, you got to be able to produce.
He's so right. Nobody does care. He said all the right things. Stephen A., Shedeur taking fewer reps, do you think that's a bad sign?
No, not at all. It's too early for all of that. He just arrived. He's a rookie. And by the way, while you're looking at him, you also want to see what Dillon Gabriel will bring to the table, along with others. Kenny Pickett is on this squad. He's relatively young, even though I don't think that he's the face of the franchise for the future. Okay, of course, Joe Flacco is an experienced veteran. You got him there as a security blanket. You should have had him there last year. Okay, but when I look at Shedeur Sanders, I mean, when you consider what he did, his career completion percentage is the best in the FBS, more than 71% for his career. He completed 74% of his passes last year, despite being sacked about 42 times. Okay, 90+ times over the 2 years that he was at Colorado. The brother can play, but what you drafted in the fifth round, 144th overall. We all know how bogus that was. We know that there's more to it than just his football skill. But him being there, you want to test a lot of things about Shedeur Sanders. And most of it, of course, his skill set is one thing because you want to make sure he can play on this level. But his temperament, his willingness to handle, not ability, because we know he has the ability, but his willingness to handle adversity. His willingness, you want to see if you're the Browns, how he's going to react to not being with the first team, all right, not being QB1 and taking a step back. You want to see how he's going to react while they're taking a look at Dillon Gabriel. You want to see what his temperament is like and what have you because of all the things that have been said about him. So I don't have a problem with it at all. I thought he gave perfect answers yesterday. But more importantly, Cleveland testing him this way doesn't bother me either because what you're trying to do is cement what you believe you already know about his character, not just his play. And I think that it's good for a young person in his position to be put through those tests because ultimately you're going to be tested. So why not start from scratch and try to test him now?
I think what the Browns did, I'll let Lewis handle the quarterback, who's good and who isn't. I think what the Browns did here in this offseason is superb. They knew they didn't love the quarterbacks. I mean, outside, obviously, who was the first pick. They didn't get Cam Ward. They knew from a standpoint of what was left, they were not going to get the quarterback of the future. They probably didn't think Sanders was on that level. Obviously, they didn't. Most teams didn't seem to. You know, Dillon Gabriel was a reach. Okay, we'll see what he does. Sanders is a reach, but they trade Hunter. They get Jacksonville's #1. They got the #1 for next year. So they got a lot of chips for the lottery. And there's 6 or 7 quarterbacks next year who could be first-round picks. The kid from Arizona State's going to be a very good quarterback. The kid from Penn State's got a chance to be a very good quarterback. Lewis can give you the other 4 or 5, but there's a lot of quarterbacks who are going to come out next year who they will now have an opportunity to draft because they got a lot of #1 picks. Throw in the idea that they take a chance this year. They don't punt on the season, but Sanders will get his chance. Gabriel will get his chance. They're not the quarterback of the future on the team. Maybe they get lucky and Sanders turns out to be great and don't have to worry about it. But if he doesn't, or if somebody else doesn't, they got a lot of quarterbacks for picks for next year where they can take another run at it with a better opportunity to get the guy that they want. I love what the Browns did there, Lewis, as far as the draft is concerned. Stockpiling picks for a draft in the following year that seems to be strong on a QB position. Give me your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, they've set themselves up pretty well, I believe, in the present, in the short term, and they also have a safety net, and they have a lot of options in the long term with the number of draft picks that they have coming next year, namely the pick that they're going to get from Jacksonville, and it's probably going to be a high pick. So, yeah, Cleveland's sitting in a good spot, theoretically. As it relates to Shedeur, look, I agree with Stephen A. I agree that they are trying to test him right now, whether that is purposefully or, you know, secondarily, they are testing him right now. They're testing his resilience. They're testing his stick-to-itiveness. They're testing his ability to be intrinsically motivated to continue to stay in the book when I can tell you this. You're sitting over there during mini camps and OTAs right now. You're seeing a guy who was drafted 2 rounds ahead of you take reps with the ones when you're sitting there going, I'm better than that guy. I'm better than Dillon Gabriel, and I'm not getting the reps. They're going to be watching you. Scouts are watching you. The GM's watching you. Owners are watching you. They're seeing your body language. They're seeing how you are when you go in the huddle and you do get a couple reps. They're seeing how you execute, how you get on with the rest of the teammates, how you walk into the locker room, whether you're the guy who's first into your weightlifting session, whether you're a guy who's early into treatment. Are you in the film room watching extra tape? They're evaluating all that right now when he's not the man. He's not being treated as the man. No one cares about what you did at Colorado anymore. They're testing him. And he's taking the perfect approach. He's taking the perfect approach. He's saying, look, I got to maximize every single thing that I do here. The great Tom Brady used to talk about it the same way when he went to New England as a 5th-round pick. I had to maximize everything. And when he does, that earns you more reps. Because in the end, I'll tell you this. As a pure quarterback, of everyone who they have on their roster right now, I do believe that Shedeur is the best player. But he's not going to be able to show that right away. And what Cleveland is saying is, are you willing to play the long game with us and bide your time? Are you still willing to do the right things?
That's the.
And if they do it organically, if they do it fairly, he'll win the job eventually at some point in time. I really do believe that. But there's a lot of things he's going to have to navigate first.
No question. Because the reality is that his skill set, again, I'm going to remind everybody, he was projected to be the 2nd quarterback taken in the draft. That's the bottom line. And to go from that to if he had dropped to late in the 1st round because another quarterback was picked ahead of him or, a 2nd-round pick, that would be different. But when you drop all the way to the 5th round, the 144th pick overall, doggy, that's not about football. That's about something else. When you got a guy with his talent that showed what he could do, particularly with his poise under pressure and what have you, and being sacked so many times and all, the brother can play.
Stephen, very important remarks. I got to hit the top of the hour, though.
Steeled? Sure. Season 21 for the future Hall of Famer's career will begin for him in Steel City, and there was plenty on the table at mandatory minicamp with the media. Rodgers is married now, both in real life and then professionally, to Mike Tomlin. Here's Rodgers on why the Steelers were the right fit.
It starts with Mike Tomlin. I mean, I've been a fan of his for a long time. There's a few iconic franchises in the NFL. I played for one of them for 18 years. This is another one of those. I don't need it for my ego. I don't need it to keep playing. This was a decision that was best for my soul. And I felt like being here with Coach T and the guys they got here and the opportunity here was the best for me. And I'm excited to be here.
Adam Schefter is with us for more. Adam, what's the early word on Aaron Rodgers from Steelers camp?
Well, Randy, who doesn't want to make a decision that's best for your soul? And Aaron Rodgers yesterday was in Pittsburgh for the first time to practice with his new teammates, his new organization, and his first message of the day to his new team was that he's all in. That's what he felt like he needed to tell everybody after weeks and months of speculation about whether and when he would sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And once he did and got that one-year deal done, he told all his new teammates yesterday he's all in, he's all ready to get to work. And as you mentioned, he's married to the job. He's married off the field. A lot of rings this offseason, a lot of marriages. And Aaron Rodgers is ready to get to work to try to return the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs where they've lost their last 6 postseason games.
Something borrowed, something blue, something new. I mean, the whole thing works here for the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. Now, Pittsburgh has a focus on who is there, sure, but also for who is not there, notably T.J. Watt. What's the latest on his absence, Adam?
Well, Randy, who would have ever thought that on the very first day that Aaron Rodgers would practice with the Steelers, the biggest story would be T.J. Watt staying away from the Steelers' mandatory minicamp. He's set to earn $21 million this season. He wants a new deal. He wants it reworked. We've seen many pass rushers be paid this offseason. T.J. Watt wants to add his name to that list, as does the Bengals' standout pass rusher, Trey Hendrickson, who led the NFL in sacks last year. Him and T.J. Watt are 1 and 2 in sacks in the NFL the last 2 years. Hendrickson's been trying to get a deal done with the Bengals for the better part of the past 2 off seasons. They haven't made much progress, and Trey Hendrickson says he will not play without a new deal. It's a similar story in Washington, where their standout wide receiver, Terry McLaurin, is not participating in the mandatory minicamp, hasn't shown up to any activities this offseason while he awaits a new deal. He's going into the last year of a deal that's scheduled to pay him about $19 million. We've seen big new deals given out to wide receivers this offseason, to T. Higgins, to Jamar Chase, to a number.
And that's it for today's episode on ES3N. We're not just here to entertain. We're here to add value. Whether it's a new perspective on the game, a deeper look into an athlete's mindset, or a moment that made you think, this is the kind of content that stays with you after the final whistle. Sports teach us more than just how to win. They teach us patience, discipline, how to lose with grace and come back stronger. And that's the message we're building here together. So if today's video gave you something real, something to take into your next workout, your next challenge, or even just your day, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but because we're building a community that gets it. Thanks for being part of this. Keep learning, keep leveling up. And as always, this is ES3N, signing off with gratitude and grind.
Want to turn your knitting into a business? I'll show you how.
Thanks for watching. You're tuned into the ES3N network. We appreciate you spending your time with us. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a drop. Got thoughts or theories? Drop them in the comments. We read them all. Share this video to help keep important stories alive. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, there's always more to the story. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. But stay tuned. Coming up next, I'll be adding even more value by showing you exactly how to get started with your knitting journey.